Okay, so according to Sartre, what is freedom? What does it mean for you to be inherently free? Well, you are, according to Sartre, you are always inherently free, but it depends on what you do as to whether you are actually actualizing that freedom that you for sure do have. As I've talked about before, being for Sartre and the being of consciousness is a very incomplete and an undetermined thing. It's not totally complete, and sometimes we will fill that void with nothingness, and it's by having by doing things which are basically instances of bad faith, or we are having this gaze of the other or whatever. We are just basically fleeing from ourselves because of that nothingness, and we also are trying to find some sort of foundational absolute meaning about ourselves when there is none. And Sartre was someone who also liked Beauvoir. They both thought that we had inherent freedom, and we do, but we have to, for one thing, recognize the nature of ourselves, the nature of ourselves being incomplete, not wholly meaningful, not fully having purpose, and we have to create such a purpose. We have to make a way for ourselves. We have to create a meaning for our own lives, and according to Simone de Beauvoir, we have to engage in a ethics of ambiguity, which means recognizing and accepting that our lives and we have ambiguous lives which are purposeless, and we have to actualize that. If we don't, then we're in a state of bad faith, and we have to create meaning for ourselves. And there's sort of a thing that I want to discuss here, which is that man makes himself by acting in the world. And the for itself has meaning via the future of what he is. And man is what he is now if has something else in the future. So there's this facticity and transcendence sort of thing. Facticity is the way things are for you now. Your facticity, my facticity, is a certain way, and so is yours. We each have a certain facticity, and that's true. And we try to look at our facticity and trying to imagine a transcendence. There's facticity and there's transcendence. Transcendence is possibility. It's potentiality. Things that could be in the future. So try to, first of all, we have to make ourselves by acting in the world. We have to create a meaning for ourselves. We have to act. We have to project ourselves forward. We have to project our facticity upon. We have to take our facticity and project ourselves towards the future, towards the transcendence. We have to try to see how we can make things better, see how we can make more of ourselves, and basically this means that we can't be in bad faith. We can't try to fill ourselves with more nothingness. We have to make it for ourselves. We have to make this such any meaning for ourselves, because there is no inherent purpose, um, according to Sartre. So we have to take our facticity, the thing of who we are now, and try to look at that through the lens of the transcendence, and try to think about how we can be better in the future, and how we can better ourselves, and how we can live a better and free lives. And to live a free life is to actualize your freedom by being in states of good faith, and by actualizing your true self, realizing realizing the nature of yourself. And that isn't always easy, because it's difficult to understand who we are as people, and Sartre says that himself. So that's kind of a bit about that. I think that's kind of interesting, in that we can think about ourselves via the future. We have to kind of make purposes for ourselves, and it's really is not given to us. And this says as this whole thing says a lot about who we are, and it's kind of interesting. So let me know what your thoughts are below.